just to put last night in perspective, he's attempted at least 10 shots in 493 games in his career, and only once has he shot worse than he did last night. That was back in his rookie season. And he was 0 for 2 from the line, so that 4-point performance is worst in any game with 10 shots in his career. But listen, he had been out for almost 9 weeks. What did Monica McNutt think about his return? Here she is.
I thought he looked solid, considering how long he's been away. Of course, we all acknowledge rust, but he said it, and that was the key thing that I was looking for last night. Is he favoring this injury at all? There was one point in there where he actually took a tumble. A couple Mavs players fell over him. He hopped up and came back down. No big deal. So the game, in terms of his efficiency and knocking down shots that we're used to seeing him hit, will come, right? This is his first game back. But the biggest thing was he favoring that leg or that foot, at all? And he wasn't. And I think one point he was jogging back down the floor and he was disappointed that he wasn't hitting his shots. He's still a competitor. He's going to be ready when it's time to go.
Thanks so much, Monica. Again, 25 days until the playoffs begin with the play-in. Now, under 3 minutes remaining in that game, with the Mavs trailing by 2, Luka Doncic makes a basket, but check this out, and this is a story to keep your eye on. Kristaps Porzingis, it's really hard to watch as he falls on that ankle, rolling his left ankle, did not return to the game. The team is calling it a left ankle sprain. And then with the Mavs clinging to a 4-point lead, Luka with a jumper in the paint, expanding that lead, and up 7 with 4 minutes to go. It's more Luka. He had to carry them the rest of the way as he finished with 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Mavericks hang on to win 115-110, and the two teams meet again this weekend as Brian Windhorst joins us now for more on AD and his return. So with the playoffs beginning in a little over 3 weeks, obviously he was rusty. He has to get into game shape before then. But what was your take, your observations on his first game back?
Yeah, Hannah, you have to understand with Anthony Davis, this is a guy who's had a lot of injuries in his career, and he worries about injuries a lot. Over the offseason, he had a chance to sign a 2-year contract, which would have been more financially incentive-laden. But he went with a 5-year deal, and I think one of the reasons is because he fears major injury. He talked earlier this week about when he first had this injury, he thought he had torn his Achilles, and then he had a setback in his recovery, which lengthened the time he was away. So I would say that the most important thing was him saying he was comfortable and he trusted it. And him trusting that leg and knowing that he can get back to 100% at the end of the season is everything for the Lakers. It's more important than any statistic.
And here's the thing, they have a ton of ground to make up if they even wanted to get into that coveted top 4 spot. Obviously they want to, but they have so much work to do. They're 4.5 games behind the Nuggets in the West. So Brian, sit tight. We'll be right back with you. Jay?
Hannah, let's go Sixers and Bucks. Giannis, Joel Embiid. Bucks got off to a very fast start. Drew Holiday dropping off the Giannis, little spin move, Bucks up 13. Later in the first, Chris Middleton doing the assisting, giving it to Giannis. Does his thing. Milwaukee started off 10 of 10 from the field, shot a season best 74% from the field in the first quarter, up 40-26 after 1. Second quarter, they're still rolling. Middleton, top of the key 3. Yes, in the face. Started off 7 of 7, finished with 21 in the first half, 24 for the game. Joel Embiid trying to keep Philly in it. And 1 over Brook Lopez, dropped 15 of his 24 in the second. Giannis and Embiid going at it in the third. Giannis with the drive, Embiid with the block. What a play. Giannis is like, okay, I'm pretty much unfazed. I'm just going to pop this jumper all up in your grill. 83-70, Milwaukee. Later, Giannis putting the moves on Embiid, left hand. Next Bucks possession. This time he's pull up 3. 12 points he scored in the quarter, finished with 27 and 16 rebounds. Bucks going to win this one 124-117. The win brings the Bucks now to just 2.5 games behind Philly and Brooklyn for tops in the East. Only 5 of Milwaukee's 14 remaining games are against teams over 500, and 3 of those 5 are against either the Sixers or Nets, so there is some room to make up ground. Back now, Brian Windhorst. Brian, which team do you think would benefit more by earning the 1 seed in the East, the Sixers or the Bucks?
I think it's absolutely the Sixers. Number one, they've been the best team in the league at home the last 2 seasons. They're 53-11, so having home court is really meaningful to them. Secondly, they haven't played that great against the Bucks the last 2 years. They've lost 4 of the last 5, and I know last year doesn't matter, and this year they haven't had their whole team. But if I were Philly, I'd want to avoid being on Milwaukee's side of the bracket. I mean, the advantage being on the number 1 seed is you're either going to probably have to play the Nets or the Bucks, and not both. So I know they have the easiest schedule coming down, and there's going to be an interest in resting guys, but I think Philly should go after that number 1 pick. It is really going to be valuable in the Eastern Conference.
These two teams meeting again tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN. Brian Windhorst with the latest on SportsCenter. Thank you, Brian.